for the dark hours when you dare not close your eyes.
Through the murky darkness of the night when fear banishes sleep. Brace yourself for the NoSleep Podcast. 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 Welcome to the NoSleep Podcast. I'm David Cummings, the creator and host of the show. For those of you hearing us for the first time on Podapalooza, we thank you for supporting this worthy cause and for checking out our show. The NoSleep Podcast is a horror storytelling podcast. We take original horror stories and adapt them for audio. We use a full cast of voice actors, our composer writes musical scores for each story, and our producers craft sound effects and creepy atmosphere to make the stories jump straight out of your nightmares and into your ears. Joining me for this special episode, made exclusively for Podapalooza, are two of our eminent voice actors, Jessica McEvoy and Peter Lewis.
Hello to everyone joining us for Podapalooza. I'm Jessica. Thanks for joining us for this special event.
Jessica, I didn't know they resuscitated you for this. Good to see you breathing again. And hello to each and every one of you out there. Peter Joseph Lewis here. I am sorry.
Peter and Jessica have hosted the show during times when our tour team and I have been off performing live tours. You see, our show started in 2011, so we've been at this for almost 9 years now. Since 2017, we've done 3 live tours across the United States. And in January of this year, we toured across the UK and Europe.
Yeah, you just got home before COVID-19 changed the way we travel and live.
Yes, that's right. So much has changed so quickly. Travel, large gatherings, it all feels like distant memories.
Thankfully, we are able to produce our weekly episodes from our homes. So our team has been self-isolating long before it became the hot new trend.
More out of the necessity for the health of our society than a hot new trend, Peter.
Tomato, tomato. We've been ahead of that particular curve long before there was talk of flattening it.
Well, be that as it may, we know that during these difficult times it can be helpful to have distractions like our weekly episodes, even when those distractions involve tales which frighten and disturb us.
So this episode is our way of bringing some fictional fear into a situation full of genuine fear and anxiety.
Fighting fire with fire, as it were.
COVID-19 is impacting the entire world. Sadly, there are some people who are being hit harder than others. The entire NoSleep team is proud to have this chance to give back while doing something we love.
We are going to be presenting an original story written by Olivia White. Now, Olivia helps run the podcast as our content manager on top of being an excellent writer.
David, set the stage for us as we begin this tale.
Thanks, Jessica. Now, here's something to consider. During this global pandemic, we can be grateful for agencies like the World Health Organization for keeping us informed and updated about COVID-19. But imagine living through an outbreak for which there was no official guidance. In this tale, shared with us by Olivia, we join a group of people in the grip of a terrifying plague which the powers that be won't even acknowledge exists. I join Jessica, Nikolle Doolin, Kyle Akers, Addison Peacock, Atticus Jackson, Graham Rowat, Mike DelGaudio, and Erin Lillis in performing this tale. So pay attention to others, listen to what they have to say, share their advice. But don't get too close, because you might find yourself in bad company, at least when you're in the company of strangers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
The entire group of passengers jumps in unison as the voice breaks the silence. I've been traveling this route for over 6 months now, and this is the first time I've heard another passenger speak. You just don't these days. Not that you can blame the guy, really. Just from looking at him, you can tell there's something different about him. Learning difficulties. Special needs. Whatever the politically correct term is these days, if people still care about things like that in the first place. He's with a woman. His mom, maybe. And she doesn't seem embarrassed that her kid spoke at all. No shame on her face. Just a half smile.
That's right, Angel. 7 people, including me and you. It's a lot, isn't it? It's usually just us at this time of day.
Of course, I've already tallied up the passengers. I imagine everyone here has. It's one of the first things you do when you're in a public place these days. Count the heads, take stock. Maybe that's why Angel was counting. His mom's taught him you have to.
Too many. It's too many.
You can't disagree with the kid. 7 is too many. Far too many. I'm uncomfortable with 4, the recommended. And sure, I willingly got on a carriage with 6 other people, but it was that or wait an hour at the station. Alone. See, 4 is recommended. 4 is okay. The chances of finding yourself with 3 watchers is slim to none. But being alone? That's when they get you. Still, 7 is a risk. 1 in 5 people are infected. That's the statistic we all bandy around, knowing it to be true. The one the government and the media won't confirm. But just check Twitter or Facebook. 1 in 5. So that means in a group of 7, there's a high chance we have a watcher among us.
Don't worry. Don't worry, my little angel. Everyone here's okay. Everyone here's fine. Aren't you?
It takes me a moment to realize she's addressing the rest of the passengers. And when it dawns on me, I feel the prickles of anxiety on my scalp. You just don't do that these days. You don't engage with strangers. Rule number 1. Or is it 2? There are so many rules now.
Yeah, I'm fine.
The teen girl who speaks up is a sweet honey child. Her face is innocent, untouched by the reality of our situation. Or at least she wants it to look that way. She wears a pale blue hoodie that masks her frame, and baggy pants. Good girl. But her blonde hair's a little too bright. Bold. Looks natural, but if that were my hair color, I would have dyed it darker. Before the outbreak, I used to act out. That's how my older sister Aubrey, the woman who raised me, used to put it. An outlandish wardrobe, that's what she said. I cycled through all the alternative looks. Provocative, goth, emo, punk, cyberpunk. My hair's been blue, purple, pink, green, sometimes all at once. Now, I dress like every woman does. Baggy clothing that hides my physique. Dull, bob-cut hairstyle. It was one of the first things we learned. Anything that used to draw attention would draw even more attention now. In our Western world, it especially puts marginalized people at risk. Do I need to explain why? And I'm a fairly ordinary white chick. I don't even know close to the extent of it. It's why I'm still in the city. I'm safe enough. But that doesn't mean I'm safe.
Yeah, you sure are fine, honey.
That's the guy with the honey child. Looks about her age. Similar dress sense. but he's got a bag between his feet covered in band patches. We're not supposed to carry bags these days. This kid looks young, though. 18, 20. Probably thinks he's invincible.
Sorry about him.
Ha! No need, no need. So you're both good? Good.
Good. They're good, Mom.
They sure are, Angel. And how about you?
I realize she's talking to me. I don't want her to be talking to me. I don't want her to be looking at me. But she's with her adult son, isn't she? That makes her safe, doesn't it? The Watchers are solitary creatures. They don't go around in pairs. Sure, there's been evidence of gangs of Watchers attacking, but the evidence on social media suggests that occurs by happenstance. A group of Watchers find themselves together in a public place, something sets them off, and they'll work together. But they don't go around together. It's people by themselves you have to watch out for. People who watch. Yeah. I'm good. Just peachy keen. The woman's gaze shifts off me, and I feel a sense of palpable relief. I think these days, most of us, have developed the ability to tell when someone's eyes are on us. You kinda have to.
And you, sir?
Yeah, I'm just fabulous.
He's being ironic, I think. He doesn't look fabulous. He looks sick. Not like Watcher sick, like illness sick. Pallid, dry skin, an aura of exhaustion. So many people like that these days. Hell, the others have probably looked at me and decided I'm the same. It's hard to keep yourself fit and healthy with so much to worry about.
Good. We're all good. That's good.
Except we're not all good, are we? We've heard from 6 people. There are 7 of us. Is she going to do it? Is she going to address him? I wait with bated breath. And there's silence. Of course there is. Because the woman's noticed the same thing I have. The same thing all of us must have noticed. The businessman sitting at the end of the carriage isn't right. I've had my eye on him ever since getting on this train. He's twitchy, sweating profusely, keeps tugging at the collar of his starched white work shirt. At first glance, he's just a simple man, on his way home from a day at the office. But these days, if you know what to look for, you can see the monster within. Simple Man is a Watcher. I'm sure of it. And I need to know who he's watching. I need to know if it's me. The woman must know too. That's why she skipped over him. I glance in Simple Man's direction now, trying to catch him staring. He's looking at the floor. You keep it up, buddy. Keep trying to hide what you are. We'll see eventually.
And how about you, ma'am? Are you good?
Yes, I'm grand, thank you, sir. Just been taking my son shopping.
The woman gestures to the gaudy plastic bags at her feet. All sorts of entertainment brands. Best Buy.
Mom bought me some video games.
Angel looks fit to burst with joy as he says this.
Oh, that's fabulous. What did you get?
Joe Fabulous smiles, and I'm not so sure he's being ironic this time. His smile crinkles his face. It warms the carriage with the happiness it radiates. I'm caught in the crossfire between him and Angel, and I can't help but feel my worries drain away. Simple Man shimmers in the corner of my eye, almost as if he and the fear he elicits is disappearing. Sadly not, but I can pretend.
Yeah, dude, what you got? I'm a fan of online shooters myself.
You can say that again. He'll disappear off into shooty bang land and I won't be able to get through to him for hours.
I like making things. I got ones where you make things.
He reaches down suddenly for the bag at his mom's feet, and I instinctively tense. My hand shifts to the waistband of my pants. No, it's fine. Angel retrieves the bag and begins pulling out brightly colored boxes.
There's this one where I can build cities. And this one where I can build farms. I like animals. We can't have pets, so Mom got me this.
I said I'll get him a pet when this is all over. A dog, maybe.
Nobody adopts pets at the moment because it's too unsafe. Cats, they'll go out and get noticed by watchers. Maybe lead them to your home. Dogs, you gotta walk them. Unnecessary exposure. I wonder what effect this pandemic has had on animal shelters. One I don't want to think about, I guess.
Yeah, I want a dog. A good boy.
I had a dog once, buddy. Fabulous creatures.
What was he called?
Her name was Cookie.
What happened to her?
She got old. It was a long time ago.
I can tell from the way his face falls that this isn't the truth. I don't want to hear about this. Don't want to hear about animal tragedy. And that's why I do what I do next. Your mom's very kind to buy you those games. Which one are you gonna play first? I can't help but notice a look of relief pass over the mom's face as I begin to engage. At first, I don't understand why. And then realization hits me in an icy wave of terror. It's me. It's me the simple man is looking at. That's why I never caught him staring. Because he's watching me and knows when to turn away. So I see what the mom's doing. She's trying to get the rest of us to close ranks. Strength in numbers. Trying to distract me, especially. Because if simple man notices me noticing him, then he'll snap. That's how it works. A cycle of fear. Angel's mom is trying to help me. And in the moment, I love her for that, more than I've ever loved anyone.
Oh, my Angel deserves it. He's been so good during all this. Haven't you, Angel?
I try, Mom.
Anyway, I'm Martha. It's great to meet all you fine people.
She gave her name. Holy shit, she gave her name. To strangers. And then I noticed the confusion on Angel's face, and Martha squeezing his hand. It's not her name. It's a false name. Good. Because I'd hate for something to happen to this woman just because she's trying to protect me. As much as I hate knowing simple man's eyes are on me, I'd rather he kept them on me than anyone else. Because I have a means of protecting myself. It began slowly. Isolated attacks cropping up all over the country. Brutal, visceral violence with no rhyme or reason. Victims torn apart, bitten. Zombies, they joked on social media. Werewolves, vampires. And then the attacks grew in volume, and they started catching some of the perpetrators. People who had no connection to each other. People who had no motive, no reason. People whose minds had crossed a line that there was no coming back from. They stopped joking about it on social media after that. Reality made this factual. The monsters weren't the undead, the wolfmen or the creeping horrors. People did not rise from their graves to feast on the flesh of the living. The monsters were living. They were alive, at least in some capacity. They lived amongst the population, waiting, watching. And then, when they were content to watch no longer, they snapped. It's been nearly 18 months. The attacks across the country are growing exponentially. It started infecting other countries. This disease, this pandemic, we all know that's what it is. And yet the government won't confirm it. The media denies it. Random acts of violence. None of us understand why they're throwing us to the wolves like this, why they won't protect us. Maybe they unleashed the disease. It affects the mind. We know that much. Psychological warfare turned physical. But if you believe our politicians and our reporters, then life continues as normal. Like fuck it does. But we are left adrift, hoisted onto the sacrificial altar of whatever the hell this is. Other countries won't help us. The UN won't help us. Our own leaders won't help us. So we made our own rules, ways to survive the pandemic. We dubbed the infected Watchers because of their penchant for staring, their twitchy, nervous glares. That's how you can tell someone's about to snap. So many Watcher attacks have been preemptively stopped by us learning the signs. But it's not enough. The violence grows every day. So we help each other and help ourselves on social media, on the internet. We develop new rules on how to live. Don't draw attention. Don't engage. Don't go out unless you have to. Do this, don't do that. And that's why we're surviving.
So, what are you all out and about for?
We're both out of work at the moment, so we decided to take a day trip. Figured it'd be safe, the both of us.
Plus, you've got me to protect you, babe.
I sure do, sweetie.
At any other time, I'd have found this couple fascinating.
I've been at the gallery. They're exhibiting some of my sculptures. I just wanted to check in and see how it was going.
Ooh, you're an artist. That's just wonderful.
I try to be, yeah. Very much an amateur still.
Dude, you have your work in a gallery. That's dope. That's very professional. I've always...
I draw comics sometimes, when I'm not playing in my band. Real raw stuff. Inspired by, current events. Real violent. Get them copied and sell them at gigs.
You're in a band? What do you play? I'm loath to pander to this dirty boy after he interrupted his girlfriend like that. But out of the corner of my eye, I see Simple Man shifting nervously in his seat. I'm certain he was looking at me. I need to make sure I'm part of the discourse.
Lead guitar, ob, and backing vocals. We're pretty hot shit.
Honeychild catches my eye, and we share a smirk. She knows. Her boyfriend's a dick. I wonder why she stays with him. I guess these days you don't want to risk upheaval. Since the government and the scientists won't confirm jack shit about the Watchers, it's been down to us to speculate what triggers the disease. Emotional distress is one major theory. So, for instance, kicking your boyfriend to the curb could trigger the virus that otherwise lies dormant in him, assuming he has it. We've all decided that to be safe, we should assume everyone has it, and most of us are asymptomatic. So you just try not to upset people anymore. Although, judging from social media, you wouldn't know it. There are two main camps. People who take their anger out on others from behind the keyboard, and people who condemn those doing that. Both sides can be equally zealous. But I know which side I'd rather be on. Nobody ever got anything done by being a fence sitter. Aubrey used to say that the only thing fence sitters achieve is getting a fence pole stuck up their ass.
Oh, sweet. What kind of music do you guys play?
A bit of screamo, a bit of metal, a bit of hip-hop, bit of salsa. Don't like to pigeonhole us. I like to say we, transcend genres.
Soft rock, mostly, though.
I wouldn't say soft rock exactly. No, I don't think that's accurate.
I mean, I write most of the songs, but okay.
Myself, Joe Fabulous, and Martha all shoot warning glances at Honeychild. Don't start an argument. Please. Not when there's a confirmed watcher in the carriage. 1, we can probably control. 2, no chance. Don't set this guy off. He's prime watcher material. Then again, who isn't?
I like music. I like Bowie.
Art, music, video games. Entertainment's all so important now. More than ever. Gotta keep spirits up. Right, everyone?
Sure do.
I guess.
Yeah. I've been watching a lot of shows lately. There's so much to watch. I'd almost forgotten him. The watcher in the corner. And when I say the word, I can't help but glance at him. He's staring right at me. The watcher is staring right at me. A bead of sweat trickles down his forehead. His mouth twitches. His eyes are glassy. You can see the decay eating his brain just by looking into his eyes. I've never seen a watcher this close before, and it strikes me now just how easy it is to identify them. I had no idea. I'm already drafting a description in my head to post on social media later. Maybe it'll help people. Maybe it'll go viral. I just have to make it off this train. I have to survive.
What have you been viewing lately then, young lady?
I almost tell him my name. Jane. Plain Jane, a plain name. I always hated it. Now, I'm grateful to my parents. Only thing I'm grateful to them for. What kind of parents abandon their kid at 2 years old and leave her to be looked after by her 20-year-old sister? I feel the old anger bubbling up inside me. Gotta suppress it. Need a clear head. The Watcher's still watching. If he attacks, I need to be on form. Oh, all the popular shows, really. I'm a sucker for the discourse.
Yes, my dude. Chatting shit online. One of the few luxuries we have left.
Everyone nods in agreement.
I've been taking a social media break, but I kind of miss it. Such a constant stream of bad news, though. It's tiring.
It is. But we don't have to dwell on that. What are everyone's plans for the rest of the year, then?
There's an urgency in her voice, but I miss her expression because I can't take my eyes off Simple Man. I've realized that while I'm looking at him, he won't look at me. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. That's the problem with being left in the dark.
Mom, what's wrong? You're hurting my hand.
Nothing, honey. We're just about to pull into the station. This is our stop. Is this your stop too, young lady?
As Martha says this, the worst thing happens. Simple Man's gaze flicks in my direction. Our eyes lock. And I can feel it. I can feel his infection, somehow carried on his stare. The anger, the turmoil, the outrage. My hand brushes the hard hilt of the knife in my waistband. Our state is one of the few with restrictive concealed carry laws. We've been campaigning to change it because of the current situation. But it's slow, glacial. None of us want to take the risk, though, so there are ways to get weapons. I got this knife. Wasn't too hard. I don't go anywhere without it. Why would I? I'd rather get a slap on the wrist and not be torn apart by a watcher. Now, my fingers close around it.
Hey. Hey, look at me. Hey, young lady.
She's talking to me, but Simple Man, the Watcher, has me caught like a deer in headlights. I can feel the train slowing. The station's coming up. Gotta last. Gotta last. But he's rising from his seat. The Watcher's rising from his seat. Shakily, unsteadily, he's rising.
Hey! Mom's talking to you!
My eyes still on Simple Man. I feel something touch my knee. Instinctively, I whip the knife out. Blood spatters on the clean carriage floor. Angel recoils backwards, clutching his arm.
Stop! Stop it! Stop it! What are you doing?
What's going on?
I lunge forward, closing the distance between myself and Simple Man in much quicker time than I would have predicted. He's on his feet now, reeling and swaying, falling back against the wall of the carriage.
Get her away from me! Get this crazy bitch away from me!
He's talking. He's speaking. That shouldn't happen. Watchers don't talk. But before I can process this, my arm is thrusting forward. The knife connects with Simple Man's gut.
Ah!
I feel a red-black vice gripping my brain. With strength I didn't know I possess, I tear the blade sideways. Steaming intestines spill from Simple Man's abdomen, splatting against the carriage floor. His hands find my throat. He's choking me. I push forward, slamming him down into the blood and viscera. The smell is abominable.
Ah! Help me! Someone help me! Watcher! Watcher!
My vision blurs as the lack of oxygen begins to affect my brain. I free the arm holding the knife, pinned under my body. With a roar, I bring it up and stab the blade, hard, into Simple Man's temple.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God, someone help us. Someone help.
Holy shit! Ma'am, I am an officer of the law. Drop the weapon and stand up slowly.
My body covered in Simple Man's gore. I turn my head. A cop stands over me, pointing a gun in my direction. There's a faint tremor in his hand. And his eyes, they're glassy. A window to the decay in his mind. He's a watcher too. A watcher with a gun. I yank the knife from Simple Man's skull. I have to protect myself.
It's been 10 years since the epidemic of mass hysteria that swept the nation. Described by many as one of the darkest periods in our country's history, we're still recovering. A virus that never was. A pandemic we invented. A series of brutal, random crimes that became something much more. Paranoia as a disease. There isn't a person alive who doesn't know the story of how this terrible event spread and changed our way of life forever. And today, on the 10-year anniversary of the first killing that triggered it all, we look back and remember the fallen while asking the all-important question, how did all of America convince itself we were under attack by a disease that didn't exist? If you want this question answered and more, then just keep watching.
A big thanks to our senior producer, Phil Michalski, for producing that tale. and to our composer, Brandon Boone, for the original musical score.
The people in that story were lucky enough to endure a pandemic that wasn't actually real. We are grateful to Podapalooza and Give Directly for their efforts to help those in need during this very real crisis.
On behalf of everyone at the NoSleep Podcast, we thank you for supporting Podapalooza.
And if you enjoyed what we do, please visit our website at thenosleeppodcast.com to learn more and listen to hundreds of hours of horror storytelling in our archives. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts.
And please, stay safe and stay healthy.
Stay sleepless.
And as we like to say, brace yourself, because one day, hopefully very soon, we'll be past all of this and together again. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of the Podapalooza lineup. This audio production is copyright 2020 by Creative Reason Media, Inc. All rights reserved. The copyrights for each story are held by the respective authors. No duplication or reproduction of this audio program is permitted without the written consent of Creative Reason Media, Inc.